Well, one of the many reasons I wanted to get Terry on the show, other than to listen to his deep baritone voice, which we enjoy so much, is also he is doing his. How many years have you done TEDxDetroit? This has got to be 10 or 12 or something.
And we're 15. All the
15.
dang years, guys. All
Holy
the dang years.
moly. Yeah.
When we
So,
started, Lawrence Tech was still a college. I'm kidding. It wasn't.
and Matt was
No, but it
had
was
red
the
hair,
event
right?
was
You know,
I
so
was going to say the event was small enough to fit in one of our 300-seat auditoriums, and it has
That
grown quite a bit beyond that now.
that is 100% accurate. Yeah, the very first one was right there at Lawrence Tech, and one of the auditoriums. We had 300 eager beavers and willing minds looking to learn and listen and love. It was really cool, man. Back in 2009.
now you got everybody all lathered up. You need to give details, the date, the location, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so we've grown a little bit since then, and fascinatingly enough, we've shrunk a little bit since then too. So this year we're kicking it up in one of the most technologically friendly places we've been. We're going to do it at the Soundboard down at Motor City. So we've always done these iconic Detroit theaters and houses, and this year we're going to something still iconic, but a whole different feel than say Music Hall where we were last year.
Matt?
Okay, I still don't have the
I
background
know, but
material.
just ask him questions about the big shoe,
Okay, so how do you go about selecting who gets to make the presentations at a TEDx show?
Thank goodness that is not my job, man, because that is that's one of the biggest obstacles, one of the biggest challenges, one of the biggest pains we have. Not because we don't have enough, but because we have so many. We had about 230 applicants this year, maybe a little north of that. And, it's the interesting thing is what people want to talk about on a TED stage is a really good pulse in the consciousness of the area. And so this year, shockingly, there's a lot of overcoming trauma and how do you bounce back, which makes a ton of sense after the last couple of years that we've all gone through together. So Charlie Wahlberg, and you can throw all the love or all the disdain on him. I just threw him under two buses at once. He carefully selects it. He always talks about it's like a stone soup recipe. You get what you are given, and then you put the best meal together for the day. And he's really intentional that during the 3 different sets in TEDx, they're all going to be a roller coaster. You're going to get some spectacle. Maybe it's a comedian, maybe it's a dance troupe, maybe it's spoken word poetry, maybe it's musicians. You're going to get some real high level right brain creative thinkers that are going to do the design thing. You're going to get some real high level left brain thinkers that are going to do the tech thing. And then there's always going to be at least one story that just rips your heart out, throws it on the ground, jumps up and down on it a little bit, and then brings you back.
Okay, well, that sounds exciting. So let's talk about, I guess you need to go into more detail. A lot of people may have never attended a TEDx. Now, you've just described it in the sort of the macro sense. Let's go to the micro sense. So what are you trying to achieve with a TEDx conference?
So the slogan for TED in general is ideas worth spreading. The big overarching thought is if you had the stage for 10 minutes and could share one idea that would change the world, what would it be? So that's the question we encourage our speakers or our applicants to answer. So this is something that we want people to take a look at. And so, technology, entertainment, and design is what TED stands for. Those 3 areas are really what drive innovation in our lives. Up until last year, the X literally stood for an independently organized event. So TED proper has been around since 1987. Don't quote me on that. It's within a year. And then in 2004, with the advent of YouTube, right, TED really took off because it gave access to people who didn't want to spend $10,000 to be in the room where it happens. And then in 2009, in their infinite wisdom, they rolled out the ability to host events in your dorm room, in your Lawrence Tech University theater, or filling the Masonic Theater, depending on what year we're talking about. We haven't done the dorm room, but other people have. They just dropped that as the X meaning this past year, which is kind of interesting. Doesn't change what we're doing in any way, shape, or form.
So, what do you think in terms of attendance? I'm not that familiar with the venue that you're going to be using. How many folks can you accommodate there?
We'll have 1,200-ish in there. They could probably fit a few more, but the seating is, they've got a nice little up area, like almost like regular lounge seating, and then they'll have seats on the main floor, and that's probably split about 700, 800, depending on where you're seated. And TEDx is it is a ticketed event, but not an assigned seat event. So people will get in and sit where they sit. We'll probably block off some VIP seats in I don't know if you put them in the front row in the balcony or you put them in the front row on the floor. That's interesting. We'll have to talk about that at today's big TEDxDetroit meeting that I'm hosting. My wife and I are hosting in a few hours.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so I know in past years you've had something of a vendor fair, almost a maker space in places. What are the plans for that this year?
So great question, Matt. Thanks for asking. Thanks for keeping me on track, man. So TEDx Labs is always it's a little bit of a show and tell. We're not doing as much of the maker space this year where we'd have hands-on things in the past. This year, we're going to focus on really cool companies doing really cool things, primarily in tech, few people in the EV space, a little bit in the AR and VR space. In fact, we're going to have an AR VR lounge. We're also going to have an AI lounge as well. So we're embracing all that is tech. And then there'll be a little bit of a marketplace where people that have created really cool usually Detroit styled items, whether it's hoodies or hats or art or magnets or coffee mugs, whatever the case may be, those will be on display for people's purchasing pleasure.
And so it's really a mishmash. I mean, how much of the total presentations, I was trying to find the right word, are Detroit focused versus you bring in folks from outside of Detroit or outside of Michigan?
So there have been 0 people outside of the state of Michigan in the history of times. So criteria 1 is you either had to grow up here, go to school here, work here for an extended period of time, or live here. And here is Detroit first, Detroit metro area first, outstate second, and if you're out of state, too bad.
And you don't meet those 4 criteria, you're out of luck then, right?
Yeah, if you don't hit one of them, right there. So we've brought, like, the lady that created Baby Einstein. Oh man, she went to college here, and I'm not going to say which college because I will be wrong regardless of which one I say. She lives in Colorado now, but she was here. It's a cool story. It's an idea we're spreading. We brought her into town probably 2010, maybe 2011. As an example of an out-of-towner.
Okay.
My favorite, the guy that I worked 7 years to get, Al Jean, who is the executive producer and showrunner of The Simpsons. He went to Farmington Harrison, graduated there in 1961. Hasn't set foot in town, really. I mean, he came and saw his parents once in a while, but hasn't lived here since, he went off to Harvard in 62 or whatever. But I was like, well, no, it wouldn't have been 62. It would have been like 78. But who's doing math here? He got on the stage, and that was during the pandemic when we had to go all virtual, which was a trip.
Yeah, thank God for that. That this is a live event, and of course you'll invite, because Matt is such a VIP. I hope that you invite him there, right? So yes, Matt.
You guys both get tickets, man.
Oh,
you want to show up and explore the day? Please join us as my guest.
And if I recall, it's like food trucks there or something, so people aren't starving all day long, right?
So it depends on the venue, right? So there's a lot of times, like I said, we'll do it at a theater and we'll bring in and we'll do a food truck rally. This year, we're doing a buffet kind of lunch because we're at the Motor City casino
classy.
hotel, right? So it's all very right there. There's no need for food trucks. There's plenty of food options.
And do they get a Motor City Casino gambling app or something as part of the package?
I don't know if I don't think we worked any of those details out, man. Everybody gets $100 card or anything.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Motor City would love that because everybody loses like 95%, right? So I mean, get them hooked, So yeah, I love all those spots on TV. I don't sign up for any of them because once they get their hooks in you, they're flooding you with stuff to gamble all the time. So I'm just kidding.
Unfortunately for me, that's a vice I have not developed. So I'm happy about that. I'll lose my $20 and call it an entertaining evening.
That's it. Tickets.
All right. So have we mentioned the date yet?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
I think we did, but if we didn't, let's say it again, guys, because it's a big day in the D. It's September 28th, right? Which is a Thursday. And so we're going to bring the crowd down. Doors open at 8:30. The first act takes the stage at 9:30 sharp. We'll run 3 sets. So, and you won't know who's in what set ahead of time because we want people to stick around for as much of the day as humanly possible. You'll have your fancy little lanyard. Tickets are on sale now at TEDxDetroit.com, TEDxDetroit.com. We're still looking for a couple of sponsors, and if there were a couple of cool tech companies that had some amazing things to display, we'd love to see that as well.
So tickets cost how much?
Tickets right now are $85. Okay. Day of, and maybe a couple of days before, they'll bump up to $100. I'm not sure when that change is, but day of. And TED is very clear, right? Everybody that participates in the board, it's all volunteer, right? We can't make any money off of this event. We can't charge over $100 for a regular ticket. We do have some VIP tickets that allow you to come to the party the night before and get some special all access kind of day of stuff. Those tickets are a little more at $250, but those are available.
Okay. And where can they find it? One more time, where can they find those tickets?
Those tickets live at TEDxDetroit.com. Here, I have a visual for you in case we're missing out. TEDxDetroit.
Oh, very good. Yes. I had to set up to look at that, So.
Yeah, it's a little backwards, but for all those of you who are listening and not looking, TEDxDetroit.com.